Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Turtlebiscuit and I am Lord of the Arena. Wait, no. Wait, let me try that again. Welcome, ladies, gentlemen, good viewers all, this is the Skyrider, and welcome to the Journey to 12, ladies and gentlemen. This, for those of you who don't know, is Hearthstone, the new online card game being developed by Blizzard. I have been absolutely so incredibly psyched for this game, my friends. I just cannot tell you how psyched I am for this. I'm so glad to be in the beta. Which I do owe to quite a few connections, it must be said. An individual whom I don't know, known as LGD66 on Twitter, had a key, who he then gave to my good friend Kristen, Cuddle of Death, who in turn gave it to my other good friend, because, let's face it, good viewer, I've only got two good friends, my other good friend, Vegas Jamie, who in turn gave it to me. So, I must thank all of those individuals profusely for getting me into this game, because I have been so psyched for this, my friends. I cannot tell you, I've been playing it so much. I really want to sort of get into this game and show you a lot of content, and I thought a good time to do that would be at the start of the latest patch, which was today, earlier today. So, a few things have been changed, a few cards have been changed, Unleash the Hounds has been nerfed, Mind Control has been nerfed, and you can now go to 12 wins in Arena. As opposed to 9. I would like to show you some Constructed as well at some point, good video, because I do hope to cover a lot of Hearthstone on my channel, because I think it's a great game and really want to cover it a lot. But unfortunately, I just don't have the cards to compete properly in Constructed right now. Just don't have the cards to create decks that I want to create. So, me and my deck will not be unstoppable. You've really got to be careful how you say that in a Dwarvish accent? Well, it's Scottish accent, but you know what I mean. And the problem is with this, good viewer, is that because of the nature of my headphones, I can't actually tell what I sound like. I knew I said that wrong. I mean, I know this is a pretty atrocious Scottish accent anyway, so I'm going to stop doing it. But it's even worse when you can't hear what you sound like, because you don't know how shite you sound. You know what I mean? Anyway, before I completely insult the population of Scotland, let's go, my friends. And we have Shaman, Druid, and Paladin as our hero choices. I am going to choose Druid.
I must protect the
because it's the class I'm most familiar with, and I do rather like Druid. So let's go. Incidentally, good viewer, I'm going to assume that you know quite a bit about Hearthstone already if you're watching these videos. If not, I apologise. It's fairly easy to pick up, I must say. So no doubt you'll pick it up as you go along. And I may well do a video explaining some of the basics, because, you know, be a view whore, why not indeed. Okay, this is an easy choice to me, good viewer. Wild Pyromancer can be tricky. Yeah, it's very sort of, I associate it a lot with a Warlock card, because it's sort of universal damage rather than just opponent's damage. But it can be used in certain situations. Angry Chicken is, as we all know, the best card in the game, so any deck that we put it in will make it completely unbalanced, so I'm not going to put it in for that reason. Keeper of the Grove. The show really shows off the greatness of the Druid's special ability here, which is the ability to have versatility. The ability to have versatility. Versatility is a Druid's strong point, my friends. Mark of Nature, Swipe or Gnomish Inventor. I do like Swipe as removal, and I do feel you do need quite a bit of removal in Arena, so we'll go for Swipe. Alarmobot, Bite, and Emperor Cobra. Speaking of removal, Emperor Cobra is great for removal. If you can protect it, because it can just instantly kill the opponent's strongest creature, assuming it doesn't have Divine Shield, of course. Alarmobot, highly situational, and very much a bullet magnet, hence we will go for Bite. I only got 4 costs at the moment, and I think we're about to take another because silence is kind of mandatory. Wow, the chicken and the pyromancer have come back. Pint-sized summoner it is, my friends. Druid of the Claw, Swipe, Mad Bomber. Mad Bomber is in the same league as the Angry Chicken, as we all know. However, I do not trust in the Bomber. The Bomber is not good to me. So instead we will take a Druid of the Claw. Man, more swipe. I'm tempted to take another swipe, actually. And I'm going to do it. Gurubashi Berserker, Mark of the Wild, Bluegill Warrior. I do like Gurubashi Berserker. Gurubashi Berserker is without doubt one of my favourite cards in Hearthstone. If you can play it right, it becomes an absolute tank. You can get, like, I think the highest I've ever seen a Gurubashi Berserker is something like a 19-1, or something like that. It can get pretty insane if you do it right. Mark of the Wild is always good, because all the cards we took at first were 4 costs, so I'm just aware of that. And you do not want a high mana curve in Arena. You do not want a high mana curve in Arena, otherwise you will die very quickly. I think Mark of the Wild here. Direwolf Alpha, Stormwind Knight, and Murloc Tidehunter. I do like the Stormwind Knight. Murloc Tidehunter, it's alright for one of those several cards in the game that give you 2 minions for 1. It's alright. It's not brilliant. Direwolf Alpha I do like though. Give it a bit of a buff. Let's go for that. Violet Teacher Crazed Alchemist and Argent Commander. I think this is a fairly obvious choice, good viewer. It's not that these two are bad, it's just that Argent Commander is widely considered one of the best minions in the game at the moment. Although, having said that, it has been nerfed, which I've just realised, to a 4-3, but to be honest, it's not its health that is Argent Commander's strong point. It's Charge and Divine Shield, which means that it will basically, almost without fail, trade 2 for 1. So, despite the nerf, I still prefer Argent Commander over these two. Let's go for that one. Naturalized Stranglethorn Tiger and Druid of the Claw. The Druid of the Claw would not go amiss at all. Because they can either be 4/4 charges or 4/6 taunters. Which are both very good, so Druid of the Claw it is. Gurubashi Berserker, Total Biscuit, and Tauren Warrior. I'm more a fan of these two, but I'm very aware that we're over a third of the way through, and most of our cards are 4 costs. So but it's a Gurubashi Berserker. I'm not such a big fan of the Tauren Warrior, because it's an Armani Berserker with Taunt, which again, it's not necessarily a bad thing. It just, well, I don't know. Nah, we need some low cost cards. Let's go to the Tauren Warrior. Speaking of low cost cards. Stone Tusk Boar, Naturalize, and Argent Squire. Naturalize is good in a pinch, but it does give your opponent 2 cards, which is why it's so cheap. Because that's a big disadvantage. Stone Tusk Boar and Argent Squire, neither of them are vastly brilliant. Simply because they generally die fairly easily, but with buffs, let's go for an Argent Squire. And here we get an epic. We get a Molten Giant, an Ancient of War, or an Ancient of Law. This is a tough choice, my friends. Because Molten Giant is very good if you're behind. Because, of course, it gets cheaper the later in the game. Or, it gets cheaper the more damage you take, and therefore is more useful later in the game. As one would expect. Ancient of Law. 2 cards or 5 health. Card draw is always good, and we do lack in card draw, but I think Ancient of War is very good, because a 5/10 Taunter is very good, or even a 10/5 Attacker could potentially be useful. Oh, this is Snapjaw, Fairy Dragon, and Starfire. Starfire would be good for the card draw, but I do like Fairy Dragon as a 2-drop. It's one of my favourite 2-drops, partially because mages can't get rid of it. I can't talk tonight, good viewer, I really can't. So, Fairy Dragon, because I really don't like mages. In fact, I don't think anybody likes mages, except for the mage players, who will defend them till death. But then this is Blizzard, my friends, so we're not going to be seeing mage nerfs anytime soon. Shieldwind Yeti, I think is the obvious choice here. It's overall a very strong card. Spiteful Smith is good, but not for druids, because we have no weapons. Reckless Rocketeer can be good, but it's similar to Wolf Rider in that it's just very powerful removal, essentially, because it dies so easily. So, Chillwind Yeti it is. We really need some low-cost cards here. Ironforge Rifleman, it's okay, but it's not brilliant. Stormwind Knight, I don't want any more 4 costs, because that makes the mana curve far too high. I think Savage Roar here might be quite good. Stranglethorn Tiger, Shieldbearer, Razorfen Hunter. Much as I love Stranglethorn Tiger, it is an excellent card. We're going to go Razorfen Hunter. Cult Master, Youthful Brewmaster, Dragonling Mechanic. I don't really have any Battle Cry minions here. And that's what the Brewmaster cards are probably the most useful with, I would argue. I think the Cult Master might be a good idea here, because we do need the card draw. An Epic, a Murloc Tidecaller, no Murloc, so that's obvious, Starfall, and Defender of Argus. Tough choice here, because Starfall is very good removal. But then Defender of Argus is an excellent card, it really is. Because you give buffs to 2 minions and it's such a good card, but I already have 2 swipes. Do I need more removal? I'm really not sure here, good viewer. I don't know. No, Defender of Argus. Despite what I just said about 4-cost cards. Okay, Wild Growth, Acolyte of Pain, Oasis, Snapjaw. A lot of people don't like Oasis Snapjaw. I can understand why, but one thing you do have to consider, it's very hard to get rid of. It trades incredibly well with anything, particularly in the early game. You know, this thing will be able to kill off a lot of low health creatures and won't die very quickly itself. So I rate the Oasis Snapjaw more than most, but in this situation, the Acolyte of Pain is good. Wild Growth is also good though, particularly in a higher cost deck like this one. So I am very tempted to take Wild Growth here. But if there's one thing I absolutely hate, it's running out of momentum when it comes to card draw. I like to have a larger hand of cards because it just helps you so much. Because if you can force your opponent into a top decking situation, it really is much easier. But Wild Growth is very good. Nah, we're going Acolyte of Pain here. Wind Fury, Harpy, Stormwind Knight, Youthful Brewmaster. How many cards we got left? 9 cards left. Youthful Brewmaster admittedly is pretty good as a 3-2. Oh, and it's just occurred to me, the Pint-Sized Summoner will be useful with all the higher cost minions. But, in this situation, I think we can afford to take one more 6 cost, so let's go Wind Fury, Harpy. Ancient Watcher, Bite, and Light Warden. Another Bite might be good. Ancient Watcher can be good. If you can either silence it or give it Taunt, it's very good. Otherwise, it's useless. We do have 4 cards that can currently either make it a Taunter, or silence it. It kind of makes me tempted to take it, because Light Warden is very situational. It's excellent for priests, but not for much else. And another Bite would not go amiss, however. I'm just very aware of this mana curve. It's very high at the moment. But Bite, I think it is, because it's less situational. Spiteful Smith, War Golem, Dalaran Mage. Yeah, we need the lower cost here, so I'm going to go for Dalaran Mage. Shieldmaster, Abusive Sergeant, Wind Fury, Harpy. Shieldmaster is good, but I don't want to take any more 4 costs. This is the problem. But then, having said that, an Abusive Sergeant is a useless play on turn 1. It's useful later on, but on turn 1 it's pretty crap. So, I think I'm going to have to take the Shieldmaster. Healing Touch, Razorfen Hunter, Thrallmar, Farseer. Razorfen Hunter would give more board presence. It's a 2-3 and a 1-1. Thrallmar Farseer can be very good if you can buff it up. But there are better Wind Fury creatures out there. But we already have a Razorfen Hunter. Is that necessarily a bad thing to have 2 of them? Not really. How many buff cards do we have? Mark of the Wild, Wolf Alpha, Savage Raw, Defender of Argus. Nah, screw it. Have some variety. Thrallmar Farseer. Another Wild Growth, or Ironforged Rifleman, or Adventure Code Mercenary. Looking at our mana curve, I'm thinking Wild Growth here. having said that, a Ventrico Mercenary at this stage might not be so bad, but with all those 4-cost minions we have, it also... Because Ventrico Mercenary, some people rate it very highly. I don't know, in all honesty. I think it's situational. It can either be very useful or very bad. It's I don't know. I think on that basis I'm going to go Wild Growth. Wind Fury Harpy, Silverback Patriarch, Thrallmar Farseer. Could go for another Farseer. Silverback Patriarch, it's not that good as a taunter. But having to, and like this is one thing that I have about a lot of people who I've seen play Arena. They say, "Oh, this card is terrible." Like, yeah, I would Silverback Patriarch. There are so many better taunts in the deck available, so I'm not going to take that. Yes, there are so many better taunts available, but you're not necessarily going to get them. And this is the key thing. It's why people will say, "Oh, I would never take a War Golem over a Boulder Fist Ogre." Yes, but if you're lacking in big hitters, and you have no idea if a Boulder Fist Ogre is going to turn up, take the War Golem. Yes, in Constructed, a Boulder Fist Ogre is going to be far better than a War Golem. But if you're lacking in whatever it is you're lacking in, and something of that sort comes up, even if it's not that good, it's better than nothing. And like that's one thing that I think sometimes people get confused about with Arena. I think we might be alright. Well, we could do with a little more taunt, but another Thrallmar Farseer. No, another Wind Fury Harpy. Because YOLO swag. Acolyte of Pain, Armani Berserker, Harvest Golem. I do like the Armani Berserker. He says, hovering over the Acolyte of Pain. We already have an Acolyte of Pain. Harvest Golem, strong across the board. I think everyone agrees with that. Let's go with one of those. And finally, a Blood Knight, a Faceless Manipulator, or a Molten Giant. Blood Knight can be very good. I've lost before now to Blood Knights being paid on turn 3 right after I've played a Scarlet Crusader, and I have been royally fucked by a 6/6 on turn 3. Molten Giant, again, potentially good, but I am going to take a Faceless Manipulator, because I really like it as a card, and it can be excellent, because it's basically generally useful regardless, I think. Because you either copy one of your strong minions, or you copy an opponent's minion that's very strong. You know, I like the Faceless Manipulator. And particularly in Arena, when you never know what you're going to get. Okay. A bit higher cost of a mana curve than I would perhaps like. But, well, I don't know. We'll see. I have a tendency, good viewer, of getting my predictions about my Arena decks completely wrong, because I drafted a Priest deck that I thought was terrible, and I went 9-2 with it. And equally, I've crafted decks that I've thought have been very good, and I've gone 2-3 with them. You know, so I tend to do that in Arena. I tend to do either very well or very badly. Let's hope that it's the former in this case. Let's roll. Good old classic music here. Yes, I hope to cover this game a lot, good viewer, because it does just look, it is just really fun. I've always had fun watching it, and I have fun playing it. You know, it's great. It's simple enough to pick up very easily, but it's got strategic depth to it. I would argue. And let's just hope that my Fraps doesn't make the game lag. And we have a worthy opponent.
Malfurion! Anduin!
And we're up against a Priest.
The light shall bring victory.
I must protect the
And we're
wild.
going first. That's not too bad of a starting hand at all. I would argue Savage Roar is better later on, so I'm going to mulligan that. Otherwise I'm going to hang on to them. And Defender of Argus. Not bad in the slightest. That's a pretty good opening hand, I think. Particularly because, oh, Harvest Golem, even better, because we picked up the 1/1 drop that we have.
The light protects me.
Job done.
Let's see how this plays out. I also like I love the Druid because of removal, but I also just love the hero power of the Druid. It's great. You can do a lot with, particularly in the early game. It can take out. It's very good for removal purposes. And they are coining into a Direwolf Alpha, okay? Oh, and a Wisp. Interesting. Interesting. Okay. In this situation, I'm going to show off why I think Shapeshift is such a useful ability.
For the wild.
Hit the Direwolf Alpha,
Fight.
and get rid of that. And then if they want to, they can trade with that. And the Argent Squire gets 2 for 1. Which is pretty good, I think. Because I've learned the hard way, good viewer, with Crocolisk, okay. Yep, and trading with that. Makes sense. Because I've learned the hard way of what happens if you run out of momentum. If you don't have the card draw to back up your strategies, it's not going to work. Harvest Golem here. I'm not saying card draw is, you know, the be all and end all, but like it just helps to have options, you know. If a mage flame strikes you. Have I mentioned I hate mages? I'm sure I did. If a mage flame strikes you and you've got no cards in your hand, you're screwed. In basic essence, good viewer. How very considerate.
My thanks to you.
That was very kind of them. Okay. Doing anything else? With no mana and 3 cards? I doubt it. Okay. So we're definitely getting rid of that Dragon Hawk before he buffs it. And what else can we do? Fairy Dragon, I think.
For the wild.
Get rid of that. And get rid of that Crocolisk. Excellent. Going well. But of course, if I've learned anything about Hearthstone, is that it can turn around like that. In the meantime, good viewer, let's play with the board. Splash.
Mind if I roll need?
I do very much mind if you roll need, actually. And another young Dragon Hawk, okay. Let's see. Dalaran Mage, Acolyte of Pain. Acolyte of Pain at this stage, I think.
Pain, speak to me.
Okay, let's hit that Dragon Hawk in the
For the
face.
wild.
And let's get rid of that Loot Hoarder. And hit him with the Fairy Dragon. I say him because it's Anduin, not because my opponent is necessarily male, because funnily enough, good viewer, girls do play games. And so do women. And so do all individuals of all sorts, of all backgrounds and types and other factions that I have not included because I'm being very offensive. Shh. What are you doing? You could heal my Fairy Dragon if you wanted to. You're healing me.
My thanks.
That's incredibly generous, but of course you could have healed yourself. Maybe he's trying to lull me into a false sense of security. Maybe they're trying to lull me into a false sense of security, sorry. What to do? What to do? I think at this stage, Defender of Argus.
My shield for Argus.
4-3 with Taunt gets rid of that. And then I get the card draw from the Acolyte of Pain. Talk about hoist on your own petard there, Druid person. And then we shapeshift you into the face.
Job done.
Yes. Right, you have to wait till turn 10 now if you want to use any of your mind control trickery on me, Druid person. Priest person. Good God, it's late. It's not even late. I'm just trying to talk and it's not working.
Let me change your mind.
Oh dear. That's not good. That's not good at all. That's the very opposite of good. That's just mean. That's what that is. I strongly disapprove of that. Right. Okay, well, I don't want to give away my card advantage here, so what I am going to do is this.
Your magic shall not save me.
Your magic shall indeed not save you. Now what? It's got 5 health, which is awkward to get rid of. So, what I could do is I could trade... in fact, I will trade that with that. Now, I could hit it in the face. And then force it to trade, but then they might have a Holy Smite. Nah. Best
For the wild.
to do that. you can never be too careful when it comes to board control, good viewer, because if you can maintain board control, particularly in Arena, you know, board control is very important, if you ask me. Oh, good. Argent Commander. Yep. There goes that one. What can I play now? 8 mana. Well, I have a lot of creatures available. I am thinking, with this amount of mana...
Where shall I strike?
Let's have a get a bear, and let's get an orc.
What does the future
And let's get rid of that guy, in case... Because I'm always paranoid for some reason, even though it's not a particularly common tactic, I'm always paranoid about people brewmastering their cards, particularly things like Argent Commander, or indeed Cabal Shadow Priest, because that can very easily screw you over. That's why... Oh, mind games. That's not good. What do they get?
Don't mess with
Razor Fen Hunter. That is not good for them. I did in an arena the other day. I believe, in fact, this was with my 9/2 priest deck. I did mind games a Ysera. I was both very pleased and very sorry because that just completely screwed them over. Oh dear, it was beautiful and terrible at the same time. Okay, what now? I could play Bite, and then do this, reducing it to a 1/1. Because unfortunately I didn't have my Spellbreaker. Then
I see your end.
Hit that, and then hit that, and then hit that.
Your end.
And 5 mana remaining. Chillwind Yeti. Because when it comes to priests, good viewers, I'm sure you know, 4 attack is the magic number. Immune to both Shadow Word Pain and Shadow Word Death. The only number which is safe. What are you going to do here? Tauren Warrior. Okay. Cult Master. Okay. I do love some of these, some of the things they say when they're summoned. Wild Growth. Not useful at this stage, but it will get me an extra card. Excess mana, so I draw a card instead. Yeah, I do like some of the things that these guys say. It's just really funny. Like, I think probably my personal favourite is the Stormpike Commando, just because it's just so silly. I've got a huge gun. It's just such a silly phrase. I love it. Okay, now before time runs out on me, let's do. Yeah, let's do this. Hit that. Hit that. Before you get any more cards out of that. And Wind Fury Harpy. 5/5 with Wind Fury. That's not good for you. And you could Holy Nova at this point. You could also Wisp at this point. But if you did Holy Nova, that wouldn't kill the Wind Fury Harpy. Because you've always got to be careful to leave some cards back. You're not... Oh, Shadow Word Death, yep. That's very fair. And a Sea Giant. And you are now completely out of cards, which is always good. Okay, I could Savage Roar here. Would... No, I don't think Dalaran Mage would affect that, so... Let's see. Were I to Savage Roar, what would that do? It would give me 7, 4, 7, 4. 7, 4, 7, 4. Would that be lethal? Hang on, let me work this out. 14, 16. Yeah, that's lethal. 16. Yeah. That's it.
Well played.
And then Wind Fury in the face. Always something to consider, good viewer. That's one question you should ask yourself every turn of Hearthstone. Do you have lethal? Victory! Ooh, gold healing touch. Don't mind if I do. So, 1-0, good viewer. Ooh, and the key upgrades. That's rather nice. Haven't seen that before. Yes, 1-0. The journey to 12 has begun, my friends. Yeah, you should always ask yourself, do you have lethal? Because it happened in the Innkeeper's Invitational, good viewer. I can't remember who it was, but someone at some point had lethal. They had the ability to destroy their opponent, to win the game, and they didn't take it. They didn't, it was a mage as well. Yeah, a mage who is specifically, I can't remember who it was, but it was a mage who was specifically, mages who specifically are designed to, just throw all the spells at you and then pyroblast you in the face. And they didn't do it. And, the internet was in uproar about that, which I thought was funny. And I'm sure everyone like me was screaming at the screen, "What are you doing?" Oh dear, but it was beautiful. So yes, always ask yourself that question. But I've rambled enough, good viewer. Mind you, I always say that, and I never change my ways. A leopard does not change its spots. A stranglethorn tiger does not change its stripes. A harvest golem always drops a 2-1 damaged golem unless silenced. I don't know where I'm going with this, my friends. But anyway, my friends. My friends. You really need to shut up, Skyrider. You really do, don't you? Yes. It's late, isn't it? Yes. And you're just talking to yourself now, aren't you? Yes. So, on that note, good viewer. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been the Skyrider. Farewell until we meet again.